Hi, I'm JD with JD's British Cars, and today we have a 1970 E-Type coupe. The car's been sitting for about 4.5 years, and our goal is to see if we can get it to start up and run. Oil pressure, see what it sounds like, making no, clanking, banging noises. So we're about to get started. I'd say every couple of months we have a car come in that's been sitting for quite some time. Although this engine was stuck, I'm not sure why, because sitting 4 years normally is not any big deal on an engine, so it probably had maybe a head gasket weeping that got a little bit of coolant in the cylinders. But we took the spark plugs out and we poured in a mixture of 50% acetone and 50% automatic transmission fluid and just let it soak. Then we put the transmission in gear and rocked the car back and forth. The engine came free nicely. While the spark plugs were out, we also spun the engine over after disconnecting the fuel pump and ignition until it got oil pressure, because we don't ever start an engine until after we've established oil pressure on the engine. So at this point we know that this engine does make oil pressure. Now the spark plugs have been cleaned, they're back in place. We're ready to put a battery in, put some fuel to the carburetors, make sure they don't hemorrhage, and if so, then we'll try to start it and see if this thing will start.
What are the odds of you getting it started?
About 100%.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
The E-Type was launched as the 60s sweep of popular culture was gathering force. Motoring enthusiasts recognized it for the revolution it was. The general public saw it as a symbol of a new British age, even before the coming of Beatlemania, and before London really began to swing. One of the features that captured the public's attention was the car's performance. Like the XK120 in 1949, it placed racing car speeds in public hands for an affordable price.
Now, on the other side of the car, I have a fuel pump set up with another battery. The fuel in the tank is quite old, so we don't want to run this through the engine or the carburetors, so we've got a little bit of fresh fuel over here. Let's put some to the carburetor and see if it leaks out.
So what are you looking for now?
We're looking for fuel leaking out right here at the throats of the carburetors. You can hear that fuel's going in the float bowls. You can hear it there. Plug the ignition coil back in where we disabled it to crank the engine for oil pressure. And I think we're ready to try it. Let's have a look and see if we have any ignition. We're putting an ignition testing device between the spark plug wire and the spark plug to see if there's a spark coming from the ignition system. So if there is, we'll see a flash of light right there every time the ignition fires on that cylinder. It's trying.
Yep. So you haven't replaced the plugs?
Have not.
Now when you pull this plug, what are you looking for?
To see if it's fouled, if it's really wet with fuel, if we have too much fuel or very weak ignition. It's a nice clean spark plug. Still wet with our oil mixture inside the cylinder.
So once you do get this thing started, are you to redo the brakes and fuel lines and things like that, or is it he's just wanting it started?
No, he wants to get it up and driving. He lives in Maryland, and I believe it's his intention to actually drive it home.
From here?
Yes.
From Nashville?
From Nashville, Tennessee.
All right. So I know in your head you're going through a list.
Right.
What's the next step?
The next step is we force feed it. I'm not sure if we have a weak ignition or not, but we're going to use something a little more flammable than gasoline in the engine to see if we can coax it to life. So I'm going to shoot a little bit of the starting fluid in the carburetor, and we'll see if it wants to flat start. Go.
The first E-Type released was a roadster, known officially as the open two-seater. In 1961, Roger Woodley was a young apprentice at Jaguar. He drove E-types for testing and as part of a comprehensive customer service program.
To drive the E-type was just so far advanced. The tactile feel of the thing on the road was like no other. The smell, the feel, all these things I've got here now, like it was yesterday.
The mechanical advance springs are not working, so the rotor will stay in any position I move it to, but that really shouldn't have a bearing on the car starting. So I don't see anything suspicious there. Signs of life. Let me get a little throttle going here. Okay. Battery's getting low.
The Jaguar is a special breed of cat, more powerful than a leopard and really wild. Jaguar is a special breed of car.
By late 1967, dictates of the American market were bringing about changes in details of the E-type's appearance. In cars known as Series 1.5, the headlights were uncovered, increasing the efficiency of the lights, but reducing the efficiency of the shape. America was in a position to make such demands. 80% of the cars were left-hand drive models, intended for export. Most of them went to the United States. Changes that were dictated by the American market were included in all production cars, regardless of destination.
I know what that is. That's the drive shaft. So it's not the engine making that noise, fortunately. It is in neutral?
Yeah.
Does it have any clutch hydraulics? Yeah. Put your foot on it. See if we can get that noise to go away for a few seconds. I really would like to hear this engine. Come on, sweetie. That's good. Come on, baby. You can do it. Come on, honey. You do it. You do it.
How do you feel?
Feel great. Good day, good car. Customer's going to be happy. I'm happy.
Sounded good?
Sounds great. I really like it. Good oil pressure. I think he's going to be it's a good find for him.
What's the next step?
Next step is I think a full ground-up restoration is in order here. I really do. Get the man on the phone. Let's make it happen.
You think it's worthy of that?
They're all worthy of that. This is a car restoration shop. Every car is worthy of a restoration. Absolutely.